So I've been talking about reaching your first crore and then scaling wealth on this channel for quite some time now. But fundamentally, if you see, for you to even play offense, you need to first build your defense. You can build a portfolio for years, but one major medical emergency can completely mess up the whole plan. And this is why I have spoken about health insurance and term insurance multiple times on this channel. But a lot of you commented, okay, cool, we know that we need health insurance, but which health insurance are we even supposed to buy? I cannot tell you exactly which policy you should buy. Your family, age, city, budget, and requirements can be completely different. But what I can do is walk you through how I bought separate health insurance for my parents, where I got confused, what I remember checking before buying, and what I understood only after buying. And stay till the end because I will give you the exact checks I now want sorted before there is ever a claim. One important disclosure before we start. I have not filed a claim on this policy. Nothing in this video proves that a future claim will be guaranteed or approved. I'm documenting the precautions I took and the gaps I still need to close. I had switched jobs roughly 1 year ago, and at my new company, I had corporate health insurance for myself, but my parents were not covered. And mind you guys, I work at a fintech company. I understand financial products reasonably well, and even then, I had this feeling of if something bad happens, I'll eventually figure it out. But the reality was that my parents were exposed to a risk I had not solved, and I did not have a cover from my employer. And even if your employer covers your parents, I would still evaluate whether separate cover actually makes sense, because corporate cover belongs to your employment. You can change jobs, the company can change its insurer, the cover and conditions can change. For me, the first decision was simple. I needed something that was not dependent on my current job. And then I started doing what most people do. I went on YouTube, watched some videos, and then I went to Reddit as well to understand how the experience has been for people when they buy a certain health insurance product. So I read people's experiences and tried to understand how they had chosen insurance for their families. I broadly explored Ditto and Policybazaar. I took a consultation with Ditto and later explored options through Policybazaar. We casually call both of them as aggregator platform, but they are not legally the same kind of intermediary. Policybazaar is a broker and Ditto is a corporate agent. Both can receive compensation or incentive of some sort through insurers. Now, that does not mean their help is automatically bad. They did a great job in helping me understand most terms. It just means that I did not want to hand over the entire decision making and stop reading about it. So my reason for using an intermediary was not only price. During a medical emergency, you're already in a state of distress, and that is not when you want to understand 20 technical terms, chase hospital, call 5 numbers and fight with an insurance company. I wanted somebody who could tell me exactly what to do and which documents to keep ready. But assistance is not exactly approval, right? An intermediary can guide you. It cannot change the contract or guarantee that the insurer will approve a claim. Now, sure enough, several options came up while I was researching and talking to folks at Ditto and Policybazaar, but then they also have some sort of incentive structure to push Star or Care or HDFC Ergo, Niva Bupa and these kind of policies, right? But I was not really comfortable going with that 90% claim to settlement ratio. While they were also telling that the claim to settlement ratio on these is low, but then because you're coming through us, there's a very high chance of approval because you're disclosing everything transparently. I still did not want to take that risk given how that claim to settlement ratio looks, because 90%, 89%, 91% is not something that I'm comfortable with when I can get options of 96, 97%. But one thing I learned is I initially focused heavily on the claim to settlement ratio. I thought 1% would tell me whether the insurer was good or bad. But a percentage without the definition can be really misleading. Is it settlement by number of claims or by amount? Which year? Within what time? What kind of claims are included? That number still gives you information, but it cannot tell you whether you disclosed everything, whether you have to wait before an illness is covered, whether your family's hospital accepts cashless requests from this insurer, or whether a particular bill will be excluded. So once you account for these, there's a higher chance of you getting your claim approved. So the more useful question then becomes, what does the actual policy document say? Not what the salesperson remembers, not what one comparison card said, the exact document. And that leads us to the first check. Read the contract and the papers issued for each person. Look for the room rent rule, co-payment, deductible, waiting periods, any exclusion, and any limits on specific treatments. A brochure tells you how the product is presented, but the issued document or the policy papers tells you exactly what is given to you. And the second check is disclosure. Whatever the proposal form asks, answer it honestly and properly. And if somebody else fills the form for you, review the final form yourself yourself before accepting the policy. For example, in my health policy, my parents have pre-existing illness, so I wanted them to be covered from day 1 and other existing illnesses to be covered from day 31. Now that was a very big priority given that my parents are around 55 years of age, and there were so many policies which were sort of giving you policies, but then pre-existing illnesses were only covered after 3 months. So I did not want to go into such a policy because 3 years is a lot of uncertain period. So I wanted something that covers most things from day 1 and a few things from day 31, right? So that is the kind of policy I was looking at. And sure enough, I was very honest with the insurer and told what are the existing illnesses, how do we go about covering them, and they added certain riders, and then it shot up the price quite a bit. But that's the cost of making sure your policy gets approved when it's needed. And moving on to the third check is documents. Keep the proposal form, payment receipt, policy schedule, and customer information sheet, full policy wording, test reports, endorsements, and important emails in one place. Not one file in Gmail, another in WhatsApp, and one on somebody else's phone. Your family should know where the folder is, and if you are unavailable, can they find the policy number, helpline, and the documents? If not, buying the policy did not exactly finish the job. And the fourth check is simple, but it is very, very important. Which hospital would your family use, and what do you have to do when you reach it, and how do you even reach there? Do not stop at a large number saying the insurer has thousands of network hospitals. Which hospital would your family actually use? Is the exact branch in the city currently in the cashless network? What is their phone number? What is their ambulance number? Check it again, save it in your phone, and check again later because networks can change. Also understand the difference between cashless and reimbursement. Cashless does not mean every rupee is automatically approved. The hospital asks the insurer to approve eligible expenses directly under the policy. With reimbursement, you may pay first and then submit the required documents. And for that, you need to first know what the insurer expects: itemized bills, discharge summary, prescriptions, reports, payment receipts, and possibly original documents. Do not throw away originals only because you clicked photographs or some sort of digital copy is available. Then save the number you need to call and the deadline written in your policy. The final check is what happens if the claim gets stuck. Save the claim reference number. Keep every important mail and document. If something is pending or rejected, ask for the reason in writing. First, complain to the insurer in writing and keep the complaint number. If it remains unresolved, you may be able to use IRDAI's grievance platform or the insurance ombudsman, depending on the case. Neither route guarantees approval, but both give you somewhere outside the original claim team to raise the problem. So what did I actually buy? I told so many names, right? Because Ditto suggested, Policybazaar suggested, but then I was not comfortable going with those numbers. So I went ahead and bought the Aditya Birla health policy through Policybazaar. Now this video is not sponsored by Aditya Birla or Policybazaar or Ditto or any insurer. Nobody is paying me to promote them. And please do not copy my policy only because I brought it. The insurer's name is not that important. The important part is whether your own documents answer the question that matter to your family. Will you be able to get claim for your situation? And in my case, I wanted to have that 3 months of waiting period waived off, right? And this was the only policy which was doing so for me, and that is why I chose this. And I have not filed for a claim or asked for a cashless approval or paid first and then claim reimbursement or even tested how long the insurance takes, right? So before claim day, these are the questions I want answered. What exactly does the policy cover and exclude? What was disclosed and accepted? Which hospital would we use? And what documents will we need? Whom do we call, and where do we escalate if something gets stuck? That is the checklist I want my family to understand before there is an emergency ever. I genuinely hope I never have to test this policy in a claim, but if that day comes, I do not want the first time we read the contract to be inside that hospital, because building wealth is important, but fundamentally, if you want to keep playing offense, you first need to make sure one bad day does not destroy your defense. And one more thing, buying this policy created a completely different mess on my credit card. Policybazaar refunded about 3.5 lakh rupees, but 2 old EMIs kept running, and that is the next video.